know what grace is. This is supposed to be kindergarten stuff. And I need your prayer as I'm speaking to bring it forward. My sister and a lot of people have never heard a message on grace. Can you imagine that? You talk to churches and ask the question, what's grace? And they say something like this: it's God on, help me,
undeserved favor.
Undeserved favor. But this is as far as it ever goes. This is as far as it ever goes. And people don't know anything about the grace of God. By grace are you saved through faith. But then they turn around and say, yeah, but you got to do something about it. And this is kind of my message today. This is the grace of God to me. Now, I want to talk to you about the grace of God. What is the grace of God? Well, it says, and we will go thereafter, by grace are you saved through faith. Okay? Now, what's the grace of God? The grace of God is something that you cannot get. God has to give it to you. It has to happen. Now, I want to say something. Now, the churches, they tell people, repeat the sinner's prayer. By grace are you saved through faith. Okay, so you need to repeat the sinner's prayer. In one hand, they say, you don't need to do nothing to get saved. In the other hand, say, well, yeah, well, you need to give your heart to the Lord. Well, that's doing something. Now, I want to tell you something. If you people ever start going to another church, I'm going to give you some good advice here. You ever start going to another church, you know what I would like you to do? Anything that you hear from behind the pulpit, do exactly the opposite. And you should be pretty close. Okay? Can you imagine? And I mean what I'm saying. It's totally different than what the Bible says. And I'm going to prove it to you. And I'm going to show you today what grace is. Most of you, even though you've been with me, I'm sure if I was to ask you to explain grace, you could explain it. But today, you'll be able to explain it. After today, you'll be able to explain it. And if you forget, you can go back to the message. Now, I'll try to keep my glasses on and stop playing with it. Now, I want to give you an example about grace. Before, I think this is Art Curry that left this here. Praise the Lord. In the Old Testament, there was no grace. People had to do something. Now, what I want to say about, give you an example about grace. When you break the law, okay, there's a penalty that you need to pay for breaking the law. You're going to go to jail if you break the law big enough. Not go to a red light, that's breaking the law too. But if you do something big enough, you're going to be in jail because you broke the law. Now, we have all broke the laws of God, and we have not paid the penalty for it. So someone had to come and pay for you something that you should be paying for. That's only one part of grace. This is just repeat the sinner's prayer. And once you're saved, they tell you you don't have nothing to do. Did you hear that? To get saved, they tell you you need to repeat the sinner's prayer. And once you're saved, well, you don't need to do anything because you're saved. Now let's go to the Bible. Ephesians chapter 2, verse 8. For by grace are you saved through faith, and that not of yourself, it's a gift of God. Not of works, that's an invention post. Stop right here, don't read anything further. For by grace are you saved through faith. So, what do the people teach the young people? You need to be saved, you need to believe that Jesus Christ died for you, and he did ta-ta-ta-ta. And that's where they get that verse from. But they can't read. They don't know how to read. By grace are you saved through faith. You've got no faith when you don't know the Lord. And here it's saying, by grace are you saved through faith. Are you getting me here? When a person comes to church, they have no faith, they don't know God, and they have no faith at all. And the people say, you need faith to get saved. Well, no. You don't need faith to come to the Lord. It's a gift from God. Am I going to be speaking too deep today, or are you going to understand? For by grace are you saved through faith, and not of yourself. So the grace is not of yourself, and the faith is not of yourself. Do you hear me? Oh, now we're really moving here. So the grace, you have nothing to do with it. Neither is the faith. By grace are you saved through faith, and not of yourself. The grace is not of yours, and the faith is not of yours. So whose faith is it? The faith of Jesus Christ. Because when I came to the Lord, before I came to the Lord, I didn't know God. I didn't have faith. I didn't believe nothing. And by me repeating the sinner's prayer would have not cut it for me. So God says, I'm going to give you my grace. I'm going to give you my forgiveness. I'm going to speak to you for you to have grace, and to have great grace. And once you have grace that I give you, you're going to be able to ask me for forgiveness. You're going to be able to ask me to come into your life and to lead your life, and you're going to become a warrior for me. Once I give you my grace. Okay. Now, I am not saying that after you're born again, you got nothing to do. To be born again, it's a gift. Do you think this is there for nothing? To be born again, it's a free grace. Because grace is a gift. To be saved is a daily walk. After you're saved, after you're born again, you need to do something. But before, you don't have to. So this is what I wanted to save myself from telling you. They tell you to be born again, you need to do something. You need to prepare your heart and give your heart to the Lord. And the Bible says it's a gift and it's free. And then to be saved, you have to do work. They tell you, no, you just be saved. That's why I said, you go to church, what they tell you, just do the opposite. And you should be very close to the truth. Okay?